All right, so I've been talking about the Spherical Wavetable Navigator from 4ms for a while, and for good reason. It has become one of my favorite modules. So I thought I would do a quick little video showing you how I get started with a patch on it. I used to be very intimidated by this module because of how deep it is, and yes, it is deep, but I think the UI on it is brilliant. It needs to win an award for UI design, if such a thing exists. So yeah, I'm going to show you how I get started, and yeah, there's some button combinations and whatnot, but again, the way it's laid out makes all sorts of sense. So we have our 6 oscillators here. Actually, just from the beginning here, I'll show you how to get started from the get-go. So let's say I have one of my old patches loaded up. To get to a blank setting, just turn the load here, and we're going to go to an unilluminated LED, and now we've got 6 identical waveforms, pitch, everything. Something that's really cool is you can get, it's a stereo out, so we can mess with the panning. So all the edits that you're going to make are going to kind of be revolving around the individual buttons for the oscillators, at least for what I'm going to show you today. So real quick, the most simple one, in this mode, that is a mute, turns it back on. But if you hold this button down, that's where you start getting into all sorts of really cool access for tone, everything. So let's start just by panning. The slider in the center is at center when you're holding down the button. So you can go from left to right. So let's put that guy in the center. And bring that guy down an octave. Now let's choose a new wavetable for it. A lot of push. So like if I just turn this knob here, I'm moving within this sphere. And I'm gonna maybe do a video about the actual wavetables, but this is not gonna actually focus too much on the spheres or the wavetable, even though that's in the name. But yeah, push down, switch different spheres. I'm gonna go there for that guy. And now with the transpose, I'm going to start building either a little sequence or a chord. Okay, that's cool. Also forgot to mention here, this octave can turn all the oscillators up or down by octaves, but if you hold it down and push, you can choose your scale. So I'm going to do a harmonic minor here. Let's bring that guy up now. Choose a new wavetable for this voice, and let's bring that up a ways here. Same with this one. So we got it droning. Let's push this LFO VCA button. And now we've got a nice little kind of arpeggio. Each oscillator has its own LFO paired with it. So when you're in this LFO to VCA mode, that LFO is what is opening each VCA. And as you can see here, we have a 1 volt per octave or VCA switch. That basically decides what each one of these inputs is going to do. So you can send sequences into all of these, or envelopes. You can also choose your LFO shape. And you can change the shape of all the LFOs at once. And then you can change the LFO speed here. And then there's a phase of the envelope. So if I push this down, and now I can kind of change the phase of all the LFOs that are opening the VCAs, and that can help you decide what kind of rhythmic stuff you want to have going on. What's really cool about these LFOs is, just like with the oscillator, you can change all sorts of parameters by holding down their respective buttons. So let's just hold down the A button, and I'm going to change the LFO shape of the A oscillator. And now B. And you can change the phase of each LFO individually as well by pushing LFO shape down, moving that. And we can transpose our entire sequence here with the transpose button, or we can hold it down and spread those notes around to kind of give you different inversions or scale degrees, basically. And then one last feature I want to show you really quick with these LFOs is, as you probably guessed, self-modulation is really awesome on this. So let's use the LFO from 1 to just move around our sphere. But you can see that's pretty intense. It's like, oh, maybe I need to run that through an attenuator first. Well, you don't, because right here, this LFO speed, if you push that button down, or that knob down while holding one of your LFO or oscillator buttons, you can actually change the gain or the output voltage of your LFO. So that sounds much more manageable. So let's just randomly choose another one and change our latitude. And we'll grab another LFO. This one's pretty long, so let's put that one into our depth. Actually, let's do something more drastic. Let's go actually to the wavetable sphere. So you can, again, sounds pretty wily. Well, let's just take that gain down. And then we can change all of the spheres at once by pushing down and find a spot that sounds good with that modulation. So this is kind of how I would get started. I'm going to make another video showing you where I'll go next with this, because you can see this transpose here, pretty cool, the spread. You can control those with unquantized LFOs and envelopes to give your sequence or chord a lot more variation. So this thing's kind of like an ambient drone dream machine.